Oh, hello, Maria. Um, yeah, there we go. It's a film I mentioned before. Is It reminded me. It is very much a very indie film. This feels like those American films from the early 90s. Some people I thought of Richard Linklater. His first films that he made were like that, where people just walk around, meet strangers. There's no greater meaning than just everyday life. Hal Hartley did it. Jim Jarmusch does it, and John Sayles did it to an extent. So, are any of those inspiring you? Those is that indie cinema? Does it inspire this concept of just wandering and going into other people's lives?
Yeah, I'm very much interested in, I didn't want to make this excitable, action-packed film by any means. I really enjoy films that are just of the day-to-day, and sometimes strange things happen when you least expect them, and there's no cinematic magic to them. It's just life magic.
Yeah,
And that's kind of my most like important interest as a director is just kind of finding the beauty of everyday life without like artificially inserting it in a way that doesn't feel authentic or real to life.
yeah, definitely. If anyone else has got any questions or comments, just chuck them in the chat as well. I don't know if I've asked you this before about this film. I know we've spoke previously, but like the order of those events, was that ever was there ever a different order that you put them in? Do you know, like the girl at the beginning, maybe, or maybe it won't work narratively, but did you ever consider that? And were there any other things that you omitted?
Yeah, we played a little bit around with the order throughout editing. And at one point we had like changed something there and it just didn't feel as natural as possible. Like um I think that, we were thinking about like, okay, is this even the time of day, does this film begin? Could we maybe start it at night and have it end in by the morning, or can this be like all in one day, or is it a full 24 hours? And so playing around with time was also something that we were thinking about. The cinematographer and I, and obviously later the editor and I, and we decided to just kind of like let it be this very tiring and long 24-hour day where you're leaving, home from the very get-go and not go to work and then come back a changed person. Um, and just that journey existing in just 24 hours.
Yeah. And the idea of this then, I know you mentioned poetry before, and where did this come from? How did you build the script? What was it based upon, and how did you write? What's your writing process?
It started in 2019. I wanted to I just wrote a bunch, like a couple of stanzas. Maybe I was inspired a little bit by Patterson, which is
Yeah.
a great film. Just like I felt myself just going to work and just writing down little observations, and isms of people on the train and things like that. And then I was like I should make this into a film. I'm not sure what's gonna 100% look like, but it's we're gonna leave it up to the cosmos, or like leave it up to see where it goes. And so I was discovering the story within the poetry, um and we paused filming for 2020, and
Yeah.
2021 came, and 22 came, and life and COVID, post-COVID life was just very different. And then I had to go in and do a little bit of rewriting because life changed. And so I was like, let me, I feel like I can keep a lot of the core elements of what I'm trying to say in this film. And then I saw that, people felt a lot more isolated, maybe in a way that kind of felt like were some of the things I was like writing about in 2019. And then I was like, well, I feel a lot better now, and it's because I wrote a lot during that period, and
Yeah.
now people are more like wanting to write and do like spend time by themselves and all of that. So it felt like everybody was catching up to like where I was at in 2019 before the pandemic. So and yeah, and then it started to shape and form, and working with the actors as a director was gave it another life of its own, where I was able to have these like semi-therapeutic sessions with the actors and be like, have you ever felt like this? Or tell me a time when you felt like XYZ, or you felt like an outsider, or you felt like you were trying to find your place in the world. But you're not like, an 18-year-old, you're like 30. So,
Yeah.
and so people are always still discovering themselves and trying to learn about themselves. So that's where we're going here.
Yeah. And just to shadow Sherry's question, like you work with a script, was it a solid script or was it each sequence like separate? Because it does feel like a bunch of sequences that you put together, which is not, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. And on top of that, do you think that the whole COVID, that as people, we have become more detached and do you know that sort of thing? Did that end up in your script? As your scripts become a little bit more, your characters a little more detached because of post-COVID and you sitting down and going, right, let's have a look at where we are.
Yeah, I feel like the character or protagonist is already dealing with like her own form of like isolationism and isolation and her own semi-social anxiety, and that really I feel like kind of got ramped up in the later years, where it's hard to talk to people now sometimes in the day
Yeah.
to day, and people are on their phone or not, there's like less eye contact and things like that, and every time that she tries to bring herself in and shut herself out from everybody, something happens that makes her like need to open her eyes and have a conversation with someone. And the conversation doesn't necessarily have to be this big life-changing moment where I will give you the answers to
Mhm.
your life in our conversation, but everybody's kind of going through their own story at that time, and so we are sometimes just passing by, and we just happen to be there.
Yeah, I think we've all wanted to do that. Take a day off work and just go walk the earth and get home. And someone asks you, "How was your day?" And you'll say, "Well, it's quite interesting actually because I met these people." And I think your script reflects that. But yeah, shout out as well to that indie cinema thing that you echoed how I felt watching those films in the 90s. That's quite a difficult thing to do, I think, with the way films are made now. So independent cinema's changed, but yeah, it reminded me of that. I got very nostalgic watching it. Yeah, check out Slacker, everybody, from Richard Linklater. And remind you of this. But yeah, we don't have a lot of time, but if you are here later, that would be lovely. But I really appreciate you coming and showing us your film. It's a very unique experience, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you
Yeah.
again, Maria, for coming back to us.
Yeah, Monica's here. I don't know if she wants to like do any like words on
Oh
her
yeah,
take on the composer of the film. Wanted
yeah,
to
of
come in and say,
course.
hey.
Yeah, Monica's. I'm going to big her up now
Hi.
and say Monica's won our music prize for Hyphen many years ago. So former award winner right here. Yeah. The obvious question then, Monica, is that obviously you're still working Maria after all this time. What was
Right.
not just your instructions for the score, but what were you thinking that was different from your last score that you won the prize for at the festival?
So I think that working with Maria, one thing's for sure is that I know she's going to like supervise that every single note has like the right place in the film. So that makes me a little bit more confident as a composer because I know how in touch she is with the story, and she really communicates that to me so I can connect with the film. So at the end, we as composers are also just storytellers,
You are.
and this film in particular was I feel more challenging than Hyphen, just because the there had to be like a certain neutrality, kind of like reflecting that life magic that Maria mentioned at the
Yeah.
beginning. So yeah, the intention was we have these theme, but it also kind of progresses as she's on her journey, the character, and uh I wanted it to feel like almost like a sentence. Like at the end of each iteration, like you can feel like there's like a little bit of a coma, and then there's like I don't know, a change of paragraphs as the feelings and thoughts are steering in her
Yeah.
head. So I think that was like most of the challenge for this film, like to stay not too sad, not too happy, just like contemplate and be with her, with Eva, like through her journey, and feel like the words that she's like reflecting on, and the conversations.
Yeah, it was quite subtle, I think. Well, I remember what Hyphen is, and I remember when the jury we had to pick the music winner, and it was yourself. But there was that scene, particular scene with the dancing scene in Hyphen, and the music there is really that's really showy and brilliant. I think that's probably won you the prize. But in this one, it is more subtle. But the end credits, that's a beautiful sequence, especially with the images.
Oh,
But
thank you.
that's a really lovely that score at the end there, just because it sort of brings you back from what you've watched, which is can be a bit confusing. It can be a bit like familiar, and then it's almost yeah, like you say neutral. You don't know if you're sad or happy, and I like that. So yeah, congratulations, Monica, again. I think you should be
Thank
working
you.
with Maria all the time because you've got a good collaboration going. I'll ask one more question then. Are you two going to work together again? And do you have anything
Yeah,
planned?
I hope
I
so.
would love to. Yes. I think everybody should work with Monica. Yeah, no, I mean, this time around, we felt a lot like we know each other, and we had such a great relationship in the first go around. So like, this time around the sandbox was bigger, and it maybe was a little more intimidating of like, okay, we have all of these things to play with, like what can we do?
Mm.
And things are a little bit more like, you know, I'm like, yeah, like I want the music to ask a question and then the next scene to give the answer. And so like, which is very different from the time and spent in Hyphen, where Hyphen is more like structure and we have a little bit more like, okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna insert this here, here, here. Great. And then it's like this one's like, let's feel it out. Let's see. It's very sensory. So, and I think like having someone who you can play with is so crucial so that the soundtrack like just works just right for those films that are not following the traditional conventions of narrative storytelling and modern cinema. So
Yeah, you do like chapters on Maria because the hyphen was almost very segmented stories, and this one is every time she goes to a different person, it's a new chapter. So you obviously like that in your storytelling. But yeah, again, congratulations, Monica, as well. Congratulations again. Looking forward to see what you do next. Hopefully, we'll speak a bit later if that's okay. Superb. All right, I think that's everybody. I'm just going to take a break, and we'll come back in about 20 minutes for the next set of films. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. I really appreciate it.
thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Maria. Bye, Monica. Phantasma Film is Maria. She's the director writer of this film, and she was here with us. I always forget. It must be 7 years. Um, with Hyphen, which is like a little story, different women. Very good. You were in the last one, weren't you? It was you walking around. I remember. I like that. It was very poetic. And Monica was the composer of this film, but also that film, and she won the music prize at our festival end of ceremony thing. So
I
yeah,
love the articles and the podcast that happened out of that. I think that it was all really well written and like the podcast as well was great.
yeah, the
Um,
podcast was great. Yeah, we had the did we have
mhm.
the actress on, didn't we, from the second
That's
film?
right. Yes, yes, we
Yeah,
did as well. So
that
you've
was
had like
brilliant.
both of my leads for my films. Come
Yeah.
on.
Oh God, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm going to publish that. It's all edited. Um, Nothing to worry about with the edit. I've cut out some bits. Um, but yeah, she was very excitable, wasn't she? I thought.
Oh
Is that
yes,
what she's?
she's
Is that what she's
got good
like generally?
energy.
Yeah.
She's got very good energy, yeah.
Because in the film, she's relatively calm, and when I met her in real life, it's a completely different person.
Yes, exactly. That was very interesting that like she was very good to like she was able to switch back and forth very very well where like someone had to be very muted and inwards and in real
Mm.
life she's very like fun loving and like extroverted and like just has a love for life.
Yeah. You know what? I get something a little bit different from it every time. It's really good. I think it must be the fifth time I've seen it. So I was going to ask about before I come to the film, I was going to ask about Hyphen. You mentioned you were going to bring it back or like re-release it or get it online when we discussed it before. Is that something? Because it'd be nice to sort of bring that back into the chat, would it?
I would love for Hyphen to be like a whole feature film. Uh, I think all my shorts always have like a feature film element to them.
Yeah.
But obviously, like sometimes funding is just not, it's not as easily accessible as one would want it to be. And I was actually talking about this recently with someone, I forget who it was, but yes, like someone who worked on Hyphen for me with me, that being on set for Hyphen, the first film, the first like graduate student film, uh thesis getting ready to step out into the world. There was just like a certain like element of magic within like working with that whole crew together. And even post-production, like getting to meet like Monica for the first time was like
Mhm.
awesome and amazing, like kind of leaving it by chance. And like being on set with everybody and like it's a film about like loosely about my life. And um during like Phantasma, like the energy like it was just very different. Like it felt a lot more of a mature film than like a student film, and it was very much like business with everybody and get down to
Yeah.
business, but also like being open and vulnerable and having these like mini therapy sessions with the actors and stuff like that. So uh so I so I got asked recently, like, would I ever make Hyphen into a feature? And I was like, I feel like I could, and at the same time, I don't feel like it would be the same. I feel like
No.
that was such a moment in time in my life. And like it was so particular with the very particular group of people that worked on it. And to try to recreate it, it's just not gonna feel the same.
No. Because
Something's gonna feel different.
the years have gone by. I mean, that last line of that film is almost apart from the last bit because you did carry on writing, but it does feel like that's you talking. Like the years go by, two becomes three, becomes four, and suddenly it's 5 years since Hyphen, and you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
But obviously we've got Phantasma now, and some real funny little bits that I noticed. The names of the characters at the end on the credits got Townie, what's the other one, Broker or something, and you've got
Mhm.
Passerby.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's still my favourite bit, I think. Makes me laugh. It makes me laugh every time because just the way he calls him idiot, and it just reminds me of like those silly little meals you watch with just people mocking other people. So I really love that. I love the writing of that.
Yeah, every screening I'm in, that gets a good cackle out of everybody because they just know that that's people are just so like kind of like hostile these days out of nowhere,
It is
like
like that though.
you
Yeah,
know, just like rude and like and so I had a script and the guys just kind of improvised it together and that was great. Like we were laughing so much was trying to get through takes because they would just like roll off each other. And then editing it was so hard because they kept going and it was so funny and like pushing each other. And like one of them like pulls out the phone and he's like,
Yeah.
I'm on Instagram Live. Like, hey everybody, look at this jerk.
No,
And
I
that
really
was
loved it
just
because he,
like
yeah,
amazing.
he just starts talking about what's wrong with the world to him, and he's like, what, you idiot?" And then he comes along, and he's like, "What the fuck are you?" And it's like,
Who the fuck are you?
it just seems like so. Like, I mean, I use that in the trailer. You probably remember I used that in the trailer to break up some of the silence because I just thought
Yes.
that that has to go in the trailer. That's funny. So yeah, and she just walks around and buggers off. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've got a question from here, man. I want to know about the conversations the director and the composer had and how they bounced ideas off each other. So you can talk about hyphen if you want, but how do you two like? What conversations do you have?
Mhm.
Of course, Monica can answer this one, I
Yeah.
think.
Well, yeah, I think both processes, like the one we had from Hyphen and Phantasma, had like their similarities and differences. But oops, sorry, my cat just jumped in. This- There we go.
That's good.
Um,
That's good in the blooper
yeah.
reel.
Of course. Um, but for Phantasma, I think we had even more conversations because it was a little bit more challenging because it was a little bit more abstract. The scenery for the music had to be a little more neutral, and that's tricky with music because like one interval or one note could like lean into sad or happy or hopeful.
Yeah,
So we were trying like really hard to establish this like sort of yes, like there's a theme that's kind of evolving a little bit in with every uh, scene where when it comes up. And it's also very conversational. And yeah, I remember like Maria was like you said it a couple of hours ago, like it asks a question and you it sort of lingers there and then it comes back and maybe has an answer, but I don't know. It's meant for the viewer to go on with Ava's thoughts as well as she goes through her day.
yeah. I mean, I love that. This is what I love about this festival, and just generally talking about it, is because we watch a lot of films, and we don't really. The music has an impact, but we don't stop and think, well, what? But I know Marie is very. She wants it to. She wants those questions being asked, and then you providing the answers with your music, and it becomes. I'm not going to say it becomes like a character because I think that's a cliche, but it's got depth to it. You know, there's not just let's just put this music over so they feel this when they watch it. You've got a thing that we don't see, and the music speaks to us. You know, I love that, and that was the same with Hyphen. I thought it was a similar. I'm sure we had a similar conversation, Marie, about that, and Monica. To be fair, yeah. So congratulations again, Monica. Another. Did
Thank
the
you.
bit in the pub when the music goes into the red. Did you write that as well?
Into, sorry, what?
You know the bit in the bar when it goes all red.
Oh, yes.
I mean,
Yes, that
that's
was me
just
too.
excellent, isn't it? Because that felt like music I'd heard somewhere before. Um, it was a terrific, yeah, a marvelous score. Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you. Yeah, I was kind of a little bit inspired by like a Lynch kind of vibe because I knew it had to be like a little bit dreamy, but
Perfect.
still a little bit grounded. And we played a little bit with some effects, some reverbs, so it can sort of like come and go as the fantasy develops.
That
So
was
yeah,
good.
that was a really fun cue to write for.
So,
Yeah,
Gabriel,
I
oh, sorry, go
that one
on.
was really good because like I really like the way that Monica like added some like extra like I don't know, was it like backward violins or
Yeah.
backward pianos and like it feels like we're grounded in reality, but also like reality's kind of like breaking apart. And so um that's what I kind of wanted in that scene of like, will they not? Like, is this real? Is this not real? Like, what's going on? And this is like a chance for the audience to be like, uh, either rooting for this or being like, oh no, what are they doing? So that's why I was like, let's let's like kind of have fun with the audience here and let them like let's see where it goes.
No, it's perfect because the Lynch thing is spot on because it's almost like surreal romantic or romantic surrealism. It's exactly that. And there's some romance to it. It's almost a bit like taboo and a bit like, is this really happening? So yeah, you captured it. Yeah. Probably one of my favorite scenes. And also the bar was really well lit, by the way. Even before the red, you obviously lit the bar. It was really nice.
Mhm.
So well played for that. Uh, Gabriella's asked about the casting, in particular the lead.
Yeah.
How did she get the part, and what were you looking for beforehand?
So this is great because I actually have next to me my casting assistant and
Oh, right.
associate who did the help me with the casting for Hyphen and Squeeze and Help. um,
Hello.
he helped me with the casting for Hyphen and for Phantasma. So this is Merlot.
Nice to meet you.
And oops, I keep getting blurred out, but let me just hang out here. But yeah, so we worked on that casting together, and yeah, like I don't know if you want to chat a little bit about how how we what were we like looking for and stuff.
Oh yeah. So what we were looking for, we wanted people that would embody the characters not as characters, but as real lived people. We wanted people who would be able to hey Lucy.
My dog is here.
So we wanted people who would be able, sorry, Lucy's looking at me. We want people who would be able to like, for example, for the scene with
Oh, God, my dog is getting
I'll tell
away.
you what.
The
I'll
pets
tell you
want to
what.
be part of this.
It's a really good night for animals.
like the scene where the three gentlemen interact with each other. We wanted
Yeah.
people that wouldn't uh
Mm.
who wouldn't be, like I said, characters, because we had people who were they were acting tough, but they weren't necessarily but they weren't believable. We wanted somebody who would like
Yeah.
be believable, who somebody who would be believable, people who also had like experience in like their roles. For example, some of the actors had experience with being unhoused. Their actors had experience being like grandmothers, being
Yeah.
mentors, and stuff
Mhm.
like that. So yeah, it was like uh, just a lot of like interviewing people, seeing their reactions on film, seeing which people understood what Maria was trying to portray in her films.
Yeah, I was looking for chemistry for the actor in the bar and our lead. Like it had to there had to be feel like I don't know, a believable chemistry. Him not feel like too creepy, but also not so like heartwarming. And the woman at the bus stop, she needed to have a little twinkle in her eye to
Yeah.
to be able to like hint us of something that may or may not happen later. And Franny, the unhoused or like runaway woman underneath the bridge, like there was something really like um really vulnerable about the actress, and I think it's shown through. And that was her actual dog collar, that her dog had like passed away.
Mm.
And she kept it all these years, and like instead of buying a prop for her to hold, I was like, you can bring your dog collar. And now I'm a dog owner, and so like since the film, and that's even that scene has the way she describes her dog, like I understand it now, being a dog owner or a pet owner, of holding a pet really close. And we found, and the little girl, she was so mature. Her family was like there supporting her, and she like knew like when to hit the beats, that I was like she was a pro, and like
Yeah.
being able to get into the water and pretend she's drowning, like she killed it. And um, and Ava was the last one I found. I found that one was a very hard
Yeah.
person to cast, because there was a lot of people who like um they're like playing a role, and nothing really was standing out to me. And I was like, I don't, I think I was having this conversation with you. I was like, I don't know what to do. Where I'm like, I don't want to just cast just anybody. Like, this is a very personal, like, role, and they're involved in swimming and like kissing someone, and, um, you know, they're carrying a weight, a heavy, kind of weighty film, and we finally, after so much search, found Rachel, who like immediately was like, okay, let's do it. Like, um, she brought a little notebook, and she was like, she wrote down questions, and always wrote all my answers down to these very concrete character breakdown that she was trying to do, and really trying to get to the root of who is this person, and where has she herself been in these shoes, and she has.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good casting because she does carry. Well, obviously I've met her now in real life, and she's not anything like that, is she? But yeah, she does seem like you believe that she's just had enough, or she's just a bit stressed. She's not going to work, and she does that. Yeah. Last question before we go. Then it's one for Monica, one for you, Maria. Is for Maria, like, what film do you wish you had made? And then Monica, which score do you wish you would have composed?
Mm.
Oh, wow.
It's the ultimate. It's just be one of
Oh,
your top 10,
God.
or you know.
Oh, that's such a hard question. I don't think I've asked myself that at all. Um,
I think I would love to make I would have loved to have directed or made a new I don't know, it's gonna be hard for me to say this because like it's perfect the way just it is, but Amelie is such a great film. It's one of my favorite films, and I'm curious what it would be like if that was filmed in the streets of New York or Boston or like some like American city, and the type of people she would run into and who she ends up with. Um, it would be very interesting and fascinating, and it would feel different, but yeah, something like that would be very cool.
Yeah, that's my favorite film of all time, by the way. Emily,
Same.
amazing.
a really good one. Yeah. Oh, God, I don't know which one. Um, I don't probably because I just recently was looking into it, so it's fresh in my mind. But I think it would have been a lot more fun to score the movie Coraline by Leica Studios.
Yeah.
I really like animation, and stop motion has a lot of like I don't know. It's like a very special charm, and I feel like I'm a very visual person for being a musician. So every little detail from that movie, and all the whimsical and all the textures and all the character design, they're really inspiring. So I have loads of respect for the soundtrack, by Bruno Coulet. It's one of my favorite soundtracks actually, but I think working on that would have been a lot of fun. Yeah.
Good answer. Two, you both picked whimsical, larger than life films, which is great.
Yeah, I think because we like that type of genre, I think that that's why we like know how to collaborate super well in that sense, because we like we yeah, we go about like sensory, emotional, like feeling based um music and visuals, and we like a lot of this that same similar like aspect in music or video games or like um, visuals or films. Like we can pull up references very quickly.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah.
Well, that's really good answer from both of you. But thanks again. It is late, but yeah, thank you. Nice to meet the casting fellow as well. Well played. Lovely shirt.
As usual.
I've got a shirt like that, and I'm going to wear it tomorrow. You'll see. Um, Congratulations on the film, and again, a brilliant collaboration between you two ladies. Just superb, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Yeah, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Robin and Shaima
Thank you.
and Gabriella and everybody who was part of this film festival. Like you did so much work and like it's so appreciated that like immense how you able to curate all this and get our work out there and I'm very thankful.
Well, thank you very
Same
much for
here.
being part of it. Really appreciate it. And, hopefully we'll chat again very soon.
Hopefully, yeah.
Take care.
Great stuff.